tonight is what we call night number 2 of the DC101-DERLAND. And Nathan, your band Cold War Kids will be playing in just a couple of hours.
Yes.
So thank you very much for popping in the room.
Thank you for having me.
And having some time. What is a day like where what is a day like for you on show
What did
day?
I do today?
Yeah, thank you for kind of simplifying that question.
Yours is abstract, conceptual. Mine was brass tacks. Today woke up and I did some monument action. Always nice when in DC to do a little bit of I went to the African American Museum, and that was insane, and went to one of the other Smithsonian National Galleries and just kind of walk around,
Yeah.
Nice, a little cold. I mean, a lot cold. It was very cold, actually.
As long as you're bundled up, the good thing about being in DC this time of year between now and, say, April, it's cold,
Yeah.
but the crowd's non-existent.
Right. Good day, pretty mellow. I always like show day, especially playing late, no sound check, like a today type of day. It's really fun. Usually, like, kind of get a little tired and a little depressed, and what am I doing with my life? And then you're like, oh, wait, I'm in a band. We're playing a show tonight. It's going to be awesome. And then the day kicks into gear. It's a late, it's a night owl kind of a life. So
Yeah, and I do nights on DC 101. Mine is kind of that way.
Yeah.
I sleep late,
Yeah.
but that gives me the, I'm going to say, staying power
yeah,
to go hard all day long.
right.
But it's an interesting business that you guys are in because
Yes.
it's almost like, is it sort of like the same thing on repeat, just different cities?
Yeah. And then you have kids, and it really messes all that up because you go home, and then you don't get to sleep till noon anymore, and that's sad.
I was going to ask you about kids. So you have kids.
Yeah.
You've also got a new record that just came out not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Do you own a diaper genie in your household? When it's time to change diapers, do you just put them in the genie?
No. I think we used to have one of those, but it stinks when you leave it forever. I'm usually taking it outside.
Yeah.
Disposing of it outside.
What do you do with a new record that's still crawling? It's still in diapers. I mean, you don't necessarily want a diaper genie for that, but do you see where I'm going with it?
It again, very abstract. You're really taking me places with the words. Yes. When the new record is keeping me up all night, whining and screaming and teething.
Mm-hmm.
I just sit there and hold it in the rocking chair and watch a movie.
I would think that's more or less maybe when you're creating a new record.
Yeah.
Is that you leave the studio, you're either in your car, you're at home, maybe you're on a tour, and your mind starts to work about the stuff that you've already recorded, the stuff you have to work on.
Yes.
Is that a fun part of being in the band?
Yeah. I mean, that is it is a very fun part. It's a weird thing that we're so fortunate to do a job that in many ways makes you a weirdo. It's very hard to, especially like I guess most people have a relationship to their work where they somewhat leave it when they leave, and to hang out with normal people that are like that is both so helpful and good, and also like very challenging for me because like you get so deep in what you're doing all the time, and writing and recording and thinking like, and there's those little moments of like, oh shit, oh my god, if I could go, I need to change this lyric, and that just opened everything up, and now I get this thing. But if I'm sitting talking with you, that's a very I'm not being present. I'm being a very annoying friend that's self-obsessed and always So I've learned that over the years, and I'm also now basically being in therapy with you right now by talking about this.
If you want to lay on the couch, my fee is comp tonight because it's showtime. You're playing our show.
Right. Long story short, it's funny realize that, we've been doing this for 15 years now. So when you having that realization of trying to get a little bit on the healthy side too, of not just like writing, recording, touring at all times. I love doing that, but to then get to a place where it's like, okay, we have a little, I need to make some buffers here and have some normal life stuff too. That's new.
That's really interesting to hear from a fan of your music's perspective. kind of the inner workings and the mental mindset of that, because it's like you have a family, you have a child. Are you ever able to turn that off? Or are you thinking, oh, there's a song in this interaction with my kid right now? Like, for real.
Yeah, kind of. Again, it's just so like anybody, when you tour, you are in your own bubble, and it is very self-obsessed, and so you're deep in it, and having a family sort of forces you to get out of it, but you don't. There's not a lot of like, I don't golf or like I have hobby time and all that. But I probably should. Maybe next time around, next record.
You've got 7, under your cred. The newest one just came out, New Age Norms, and I love the song Complainer.
Thank you.
That to me is a song where when I listened to it for the very first time, I was like, oh, this doesn't take any time to really love it.
Yeah.
And, that's not always the case. You hear a song, and, I remember back in the day, I heard it was Damn It from Blink-182. I didn't like the song at all. Then I saw him in concert, play it, and then I loved it.
I get it, yeah.
And now I like it. But, Complainer was that for me, and I feel like your record is one that I can actually listen to start to finish.
That's great.
And I'm not just saying that because you're on the couch, man.
Sure. No, I'm really happy to hear that. I mean, part of it being, I think that was part of my intention of wanting it to be a short record.
Yep.
8 songs, and now and there will be 3 of them, but they're kind of there's a being really going from the place where you're just trying to write the songs and have them be as good as they can be, and then you've picked the best of them and you put them on a record.
Yep.
But to kind of get to that place where, I remember hearing this thing like Prince, every record he would make, there was great songs that he left off because they didn't sort of like conceptually fit in with the other ones, and that's always a really hard thing to explain, like why you would leave a certain song off, and I almost like don't. I like the idea that like you as an artist know what that is, even if you can't explain why this doesn't fit with this.
Yep.
But getting to that place is really rad because you can be. It's not just kind of like getting, I don't know, like finishing the songs and putting them on the record. It's like it's creating an ideal record as opposed to just like finishing the songs and getting them out. I think that makes sense.
No, it totally does. We're with Nathan from Cold War Kids. Making music for your 7th record has to be a little different than your first.
Yeah.
Because we live in a day and age where people, even if they're huge fans of your band, maybe they'll buy a song or 2.
Sure.
So how do you, sort of, that's why I'm kind of looping back with making a record that I enjoy start to finish.
Yeah.
Some people don't enjoy music that way, and I guess you can't tell somebody how to digest your music.
Yeah.
But it is a different era of making music.
Yeah, it is. I also think it's like the story, the backstory that people have in hearing a whole record as opposed to just a song. If you're going to get somebody to listen to a whole record, people like to generally know, like, what's the story with this one? And that one, that can be, like, increasingly hard when you make a lot of records and you're, you sort of have to, like, let go and let it be what it is, which is, like, I want to create this thing and I have an idea of what it is, but to, like, in the past of, like, different records and shaping the backstory, talking about whether it's this personal thing or this deep, like, Dear Miss Lonely Hearts was based on this book and has, like, in many ways when I look back at different record making processes like that and just think of like how deep I tried to go on like the references and the threads of the songs that have to this book and the relationship and how it all ties in. And I'm like, did anybody even get that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Whereas, like,
yes.
I there's something about what feels very New Age Norms to me is sort of keeping things as close to the surface as I can, which is not to say that it's like shallow or something, but that it's like there are not. It's more like say what you mean and less like cryptic and making references to things that hopefully people get.
I think that works though.
Good.
Because I think there's a time and place for that, and sometimes you just want to be direct.
Yes. And when I think of like a lot of the records that I like the most, when I listen to the Rolling Stones, I'm not going like, oh wow, is that a reference to a Scorsese movie? No, it's just like, nah, it's just like, it's all vibe, it's all feel, it's all right here for you. You don't need to think about it, you need to feel it. And so
I very much relate to exactly what you just said.
cool, good. And that's New Age norms to me. I feel like that concept is, it feels very immediate to me. Like of the things that are different about the present tense that that were not the same as they were yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just got to be a New Age norms. It's easy for people to get very cynical about how things are today, and but there's something that's just got to be clear and simple about a New Age. Like that's a New Age norm to me.
I invite anybody listening to buy that record from Cold War Kids. We've got Nathan right here. Is home still for you in California?
Yeah.
Specifically Long Beach?
Los Angeles now, yeah.
But you
neighbors, yeah.
Yeah, I was in with my wife last Christmas in Seal Beach.
Uh-huh.
Do you know Seal Beach?
It's right next to Long Beach, yeah.
Well, I didn't know that.
Oh,
and so
man.
we get in the family truckster, and literally, I think it's 1 mile north.
Sure, yeah.
And it was really cool
You
to
could
be
have
in Long
jogged.
Beach.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker. I say this to anybody that I meet from California. My favorite pizza in the whole wide world, Round Table. Do you know Round Table Pizza?
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Wow, okay.
I just love it. It's nothing fancy, but
Sure.
it's just delicious, and it's a West
like
Coast
it.
thing, I think.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, that's all I have. It really wasn't a question, but the other thing I want to talk about is if you've ever been to Big Sur. Have you ever seen the Redwoods? Because that is a dream of mine.
We were just there. I had we had a show in Santa Cruz, and my whole family came up, and we did all the fun stuff. Drive it, like we went on this weird train up in the Redwoods. Dude, it's the best. It's really one of the most beautiful, magical places in the world.
We've got a long weekend, maybe 4 days in February, where we're going to fly into San Jose and then make our way there. And it's just been a dream, but these trees, I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to get the inside scoop from somebody that lives it.
There's a restaurant called Nepenthe that's in Big Sur that is really great place. We had one story, this is probably 10 years ago, where we were not on tour. We had a friend that got tickets to see Arcade Fire at the Big Sur. What is it? It's like at the Henry Miller Library.
Okay.
Go there if you remember that. It's a really small, weird little kind of outdoor place. This is a long story. Can I? Is that okay?
I have.
You don't need to go anywhere.
I'm working right now,
Okay,
man.
great.
So like,
so we drive up to Big Sur to go see this show. We're staying in a place nearby. We go out to the beach the day of the show just to walk out on this, gorgeous, like it's like Planet of the Apes or something. The way the beach is just like massive and huge rocks and crazy everything. And as we're walking, we were like, oh, there's the whole band of like Arcade Fire. And it's kind of that thing where I'm like, oh man, I almost kind of want to introduce myself, but I didn't. So then I'm way out, again, just like massive beach, and I see Win out there, and I kind of had this moment with him where it was like, we're the only two people in this huge beach beneath this rock, and everybody else is kind of way over here, and I just kind of went for it. Hey man,
this is your opportunity.
Nathan from Cold War Kids, and he was definitely, looking back at this point for them, this was just, they had probably been on tour for years straight, and went from, a brand new band to the biggest thing in the world. And I think he was just like having this tripping out spiritual moment where he kind of looked right through me and was just like, bro, I like, where he's like, I don't, hi, he was like, and so I was like, whoa, that was really weird. I shouldn't have done that.
Weird in a good way or weird?
I didn't know. I was really like, oh God, that was really weird. I don't know what just happened, but I got to get away. So then we go to the show that night, super small show. And he comes up to me and is like, hey man, just out of nowhere, Win Butler comes up and is like, hey, sorry, I was really weird earlier. We totally know you guys. We love you guys. The Edge from U2 played me your record, and he loves it, and I love it. And we were like, Mosta and I were both there, and we were like, oh my God, that's insane. And so then we like hung out with them that night, and it was just such a weird night because it was a small show, and they were like, you know, huge festival headlining band, but so yeah, it was very Big Sur seeming, you know what I mean? Where it's like, this place is weird, everything's weird. Yeah, but kind of a magical weird memory, and he was so sweet and so great, but yeah.
I like that story because you guys probably have, you know, you're going to be on tour for quite some time.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a new record out. You're going to support that for quite a bit. You can probably understand. You'll have some jaunts home and maybe a break or two. But like at the end of that tour, you probably want to maybe hit Big Sur.
Yeah.
But you need something to decompress, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
and I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cool. And the good news is on the other side of this wall is the stage where your equipment's set up, and you're going to be playing soon.
Oh, okay.
And I can't wait. Yeah, just on the other side of this wall, dude.
Right here, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been at the stage yet, though. I heard this venue is great.
It is one of my favorites. I'm a little partial, but I think it may be one of the best venues in the country.
Great.
Is it weird not getting ready to go play a show and then you haven't rehearsed or anything? You think you got this?
Yeah, I think I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay. Is your voice, what are you doing to warm it up?
Nothing. I'm very irresponsible about that. I should do more.
Okay.
And I have a little tickle of cold right now.
You know when something's there, right?
I know when something's there. I start taking the Dayquils and NyQuils and all the stuff. Start firing down the pills.
This has been really cool, and I appreciate the time. Nathan from the band Cold War Kids. Dude, I can't wait for the show tonight. Congrats on the record, and I will also see you down the road when it's 90 degrees outside and we're at an outdoor festival.
Can't wait. Thank you for having me.